Excuse me. Hey there, Wonder Shoppers, Walkaholics, everybody out there in TV land. What's going on? As you can see, I'm not in the shop. I'm in the comfort of my own room, at the comfort of my own home, doing a special New Year's Eve edition, a 2-in-1 edition of paper review. Today, I am reviewing Ring of Honor's Final Battle, which happened on the 18th. War Machine Day, aka his birthday, aka my grandmother's birthday. And I'm also giving you my top 10 list of 2015, my top 10 matches of 2015, with 3 honorable mentions. Now, when I was doing the list, I decided to do 20 with 5, but unlike last year where we just talked and got off subject, I decided to trim it down to 10 with 3 honorable mentions, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about Ring of Honor's Final Battle. As I said, it happened on the 18th of this month. And before I get in review, hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And like I said, Final Battle was on the 18th at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This was a pretty good pay-per-view. So if you haven't watched Ring of Honor, I mean they're about to be 14 years in, so you don't know what you missed. Pretty good promotion, pretty good matches, some pretty good talent, the whole 9, 10, 11, 12, however you want to put it. Anyway, let's get on with the match. Now, before I talk about these matches, one match I won't review, and one match I didn't watch. Not that I didn't care to watch. It was the Cheeseburger Bob Evans match. They got an exclusive on their YouTube channel. Check it out. But I chose not to review this match. But anyway, the first match that was shown on Final Battle was the 3-way for the #1 contendership for the Tag Team Championship. You had 3 of the best tag teams in Ring of Honor right now. The All Night Express, who are back in the fold, the Young Bucks, and the Briscoes. Now, all these teams have won the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships at some point in time. But as I said, this match was pretty darn good. Just back and forth, 3 teams going at it to see who wants it more, who wants to be the #1 contenders for the championship. And in the end, the All Night Express, they've been back in the fold for quite some time, and they got the win, 9 minutes 15 seconds, and I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. All right, the next match, the last real man, Silas Young taking on Dalton Castle. Now, Silas has Dalton's boys. He's turned them into quote unquote real men, just having them doing all types of whack stuff. But this has been a rivalry brewing for quite some time this year. So that's twice Silas Young got the victory. To sum this all up, Silas Young got the victory, and he tried to make Dalton say that he was a real man. And what Silas didn't know was Dalton pulled the okie doke on him. His boys turned on him and came back to their rightful owner. The boys went back to their rightful owner, known as Dalton Castle, who turned their back on Silas, and the crowd just went nuts. It's a pretty good moment. And Kevin Kelly and Mr. Wrestling 3, they went nuts as well. Like, it was a pretty cool moment. And like I said, Silas got the victory, 10 minutes 40 seconds. Instead of 3 out of 3.5, I'm gonna give this match a 4. Just because of that moment right there, I'm gonna give it a 4. The next match, now I call this Clash of the Titans. 2 big heavyweights going at it. It's like Godzilla and King Kong. I'm talking about Moose taking on Unbreakable Michael Elgin. Now, speaking of Elgin, he'll get the first shot at Wrestle Kingdom 10 coming up in a few days, January 4th, in which I will be watching. The first time ever the ROH World title will be defended on a Wrestle Kingdom event, the big January 4th show. But anyway, like I said, these 2 Titans going at it. Moose and Elgin. I mean, what more can you say about these two guys? These guys are just heavyweights that move like cruiserweights. But in the end, to sum this all up, Unbreakable Michael Elgin gets the win. 11 minutes, 47 seconds. Gets another 4. Alright, this match, a just straight up grudge match. I'm telling you. Now, if you go back to All-Star Extravaganza, you see what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Adam Cole taking on Kyle O'Reilly, one half of Red Dragon. Now, these two were once best friends. They were the team known as Future Shock. But, like I said, at All-Star Extravaganza, Kyle O'Reilly got the shot for the world title. And Adam Cole screwed him out of the title. Basically, super kicking him in the face, costing him the title. Jay Lethal still walked out the champion at that event. But, like I said, these two just went at it non-stop, just back and forth at each other's necks. And in the end, Adam Cole got the victory. But Kyle O'Reilly was not stopping at anything until he tried to break his arm. Now, for those who know, Adam Cole had some shoulder problems, some elbow problems. Basically his arm kept him out of action for quite some time. He came back ahead of schedule. And like I said, Kyle O'Reilly was just wrenching on that arm with that arm breaker, the cross arm bar. It literally took security, referees, anybody to get him off of Adam Cole. He was not stopping. But Adam Cole, as I said, got the victory. 16 minutes, 8 seconds. Gets a 3.5. Pretty good grudge match, but I'm giving it 3.5. Alright, the next match. This was a pretty darn good 6-man tag team match. It was the return of Alex Shelley teaming up with ACH and Reborn Matt Sydal, taking on the former tag team champions, The Addiction, Christopher Daniels and Kazarian. And they were teaming up with Chris Sabin. Now, for those of you who have watched Ring of Honor television or kept up with what's going on, basically, Alex Shelley revealed himself as the guy behind the red mask who's been interfering in the Addiction's matches. And little history on these two, they were also known as the tag team called the Motor City Machine Guns. Pretty darn good tag team in TNA. I actually missed the Machine Guns. But anyway, getting to this match, just a bunch of high-flying, just a bunch of moves here and there. I mean, these two were just tearing it up. The crowd loved it. I loved it. The only problem I had with this match is I didn't get to see the battle between Sabin and Shelley. So, in the end, Shelley, Sydal, and ACH got the victory. They defeated The Addiction and Chris Sabin. 15 minutes, 38 seconds. And I decided to give this match a solid 3 out of 5. But it would have been better if I would have seen that battle between Shelley and Sabin. But who knows? You know, it could happen down the road. Moving on, the Ring of Honor World Television Championship was on the line. Bobby Fish, the last half of Red Dragon, challenging Roderick Strong, the champion. And Roderick Strong, who recently defeated Jay Lethal for the title. He basically has this thing where it's Roddy versus the world. And this was a pretty darn good match. All the matches on the show were pretty good, but the stinker about this match was basically Bobby Fish had the match won. He was the new champion. He thought he was the new champion. And Roderick Strong pulled the old trick out the sleeve, and he retained the championship. Roderick Strong gets the victory, still the Ring of Honor World Television Champion. 15 minutes, 17 seconds. Because of that one stinker, I'm going to have to give this match a 2.5. I'm sorry. Pretty good match, but I hated the ending. Now, the next match was for the World Tag Team Championship. War Machine, Rowan Hansen, 2 big heavyweights, taking on the Kingdom. Matthew Bennett, Matt Taven, with the lovely Maria Kanellis. I mean, just beautiful. Anyway, They came in as the tag team champions, and right off the bat, the Kingdom just jumped on them like wild dogs. Just jumped on them right off the bat, and unfortunately for Matthew Bennett, he hurt his knee. Matt Taven was basically alone. Not really, but Matthew Bennett couldn't do what he normally did because he hurt his knee. Hopefully, it's nothing serious. But in the end, because of that, War Machine, yes, War Machine, the new World Tag Team Champions in Ring of Honor, they got the victory. That was the only championship that changed hands at Final Battle. 3 minutes, 10 seconds. That's the only problem I had. Another 2.5. So, new champions, but yeah, short match. Now, the main event. I mean, if you watch Final Battle, this was a darn good main event. The phenomenal one, AJ Styles taking on the greatest first generation wrestler, as he likes to call himself, Jay Lethal, the world champion, with the House of Truth backing him up. He came in focused. AJ came in focused. He was determined, being AJ, to walk out of Philadelphia to win his first ever Ring of Honor world title. You would imagine that, AJ being in Ring of Honor for as long as he has, or wrestling for Ring of Honor, or whatever, you would have thought he won the world title before, but evidently not. Ring of Honor is going on 14 years now, and never has AJ won the title. Shocking, to say the least, but it was a darn good match. One part in the match where Lethal went for the trifecta, the triple suicide dive, and AJ on the third one caught him with a flying forearm off the barricade after he got dumped over the barricade. Basically, Lethal was on defense, working on his back. Many people know about AJ's back injury. Luckily it wasn't nothing serious, but he was able to go. And another part where Lethal dumped AJ through a table, Kevin Kelly said it blasted like sawdust. He went through the table pretty bad, but like I said, he wasn't hurt or anything, thank God. But in the end, Jay Lethal came up with I shouldn't say another move. He was basically trying to mock Jerry Lynn, who was on commentary, former Ring of Honor champion, and Nigel McGuinness, who was also on commentary, former Ring of Honor champion, matchmaker in Ring of Honor, 2 Ring of Honor champions with Kevin Kelly on commentary, calling this match. And Jerry Lynn just had this look on his face like, he's really trying to mock me, trying to intimidate me. Lethal beat AJ with Jerry Lynn's cradle pile driver. Now, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Jerry Lynn, legendary wrestler, retired last year, if I'm not mistaken, and he just had this stern look on his face like, he's really trying to intimidate me. He's really trying to mock me. But like I said, Lethal still walked out of Philadelphia, the world champion. So he'll take on Unbreakable Michael Elgin for the Ring of Honor world title. First time ever at Wrestle Kingdom 10, January 4th. Make sure y'all check that out. I know I will. 22 minutes, 9 seconds. I'm going to give this match a 5 out of 5. It was one of the best, if not the best match of the night. Alright, the conclusion of this review, Superstars match and overall review. Superstars of the night goes to Dalton Castle and AJ Styles. Matches of the night goes to Moose versus Michael Elgin and AJ Styles versus Jay Lethal. And overall, I give it a 3.5. Like I said, if you missed it, check it out on their website. I'm pretty sure they got it up. Pay-per-view, what have you. Pretty darn good pay-per-view. Now, moving on to the top 10 matches of 2015. Now, this is just my personal list. Everybody has their own personal list. Like I said earlier, I thought about doing 20 matches with 5 honorable mentions, but I didn't want it to be like last year where we just bored y'all to death. Hopefully, we don't bore y'all to death this year. So I narrowed it down to 10 matches with 3 honorable mentions. And hopefully you guys will like it. If not, I left some matches out. Some matches that were great, being the way wrestling was this year, especially WWE. But anyway, whatever you think about the list, hit me up at Rodarius Walker on Twitter or at WonderShop on Twitter, at WonderShop256 on Twitter. So I'm going to get into these honorable mentions. Like I said, 3 honorable mentions with a top 10 list. Number 3 on the honorable mentions list, Jay Briscoe versus Jay Lethal. Now, just so you all know, this is not all WWE. This is WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan, Lucha Underground. You know I gotta have some Lucha Underground on this list. I mean, January 27th, I can't wait. But anyway, getting back to the list, it was Jay Lethal versus Jay Briscoe, winner take all, title for title. The World Television title and the Heavyweight titles were both on the line. Briscoe coming in as World Champ, Lethal coming in as the Television Champ. And this was at Best in the World 2015 on June 19th of this year. Pretty darn good match. I mean, I keep saying that about a lot of matches, but this was a good match. It was a great match. One of the best main events I've seen this year. One part of the match where Jay hit the Jay Driller pile driver on Jay Briscoe through a table, and you would have thought that it was done. You thought it was over and done with when the referee was counting all the way to 20, but Lethal found some way to get back in this match, and he walked out with both belts. Yes, Jay Lethal walked out with both belts. He beat Jay Briscoe. Jay Lethal, the first ever undisputed champion in Ring of Honor. He won that match that night. He became the new world champ and retained his television title. He was then the television champion, but like I said, pretty darn good match. So make sure you guys, check that match out if you haven't. Number 2 on our honorable mentions from TNA, Bound for Glory 2015. It was the Ultimate X match for the X Division Championship. Tigre Uno coming in as champion, taking on Manic, DJZ, and Andrew Everett. Now, DJZ, he basically was just targeting Tigre the whole match, trying to make sure he didn't climb up to get that belt. In one part of the match, he did a if I'm not mistaken, a 450 splash on the floor to DJZ. Pretty brutal. And, the other two, Manic and Andrew Everett, they did their thing. But in the end, Tigre Uno still walked out as champion. He was still the X Division champion. As far as I know, he's still X Division champion. And Shane Helms, who many of you know as the Hurricane, he did his thing in WCW. He just towered this guy. I mean, he was a pretty tall guy. It was like Tigre Uno was here, Shane Helms was here, and he gave him his props. Like, yo, you did your thing. You were pretty good. So, like I said, that's number 2 on the list. If you haven't checked that match out, go check it out. Ultimate X. The Ultimate X match for the X Division Championship. Bound for Glory 2015. And that was from October 4th of this year. And number 1. There was no way I could have left this match off the list. It was from the recent NXT Takeover Special, NXT Takeover London, from December 16th of this year for the NXT Tag Team Championship. Enzo and Cass challenging the Mechanics, Dash and Dawson. Now, the week before, Enzo and Cass, they had this stern look. They were serious. They came out there. They didn't do their usual shtick. They were focused. I forgot who they were facing. I call them an enhancement tag team. Basically a knockoff of the Mechanics, basically. And they were determined, Kaz and Enzo, to walk out of London with the Tag Team Championship. This was a darn good match. One of the best tag team title matches I've seen in a long time. And unfortunately for Enzo and Kaz, that didn't happen. But they were close. And I got to give it up to Dash and Dawson. Pretty good throwback tag team. They still remain as we speak right now, the NXT Tag Team Champions. They got the victory over Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore. Now, the top 10. The way I'm going to do this, I'm going to go from 10 all the way to 1. Hopefully you guys will like this list. You know, if you have some input, let me know. But here goes the list. Number 10. This is from WWE. WWE gets the, they start off the list. From WrestleMania 31 on March 29th, Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins. I mean, it was a pretty heated rivalry. That 6-foot RKO, though. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about this match. I mean, I told War Machine MJ that it has to have, Randy Orton has to do some type of RKO for me to flip my lid. And that, I mean, that 6-foot RKO, though. That's all I can say about the match. Number 9. I think this is one of the most underrated matches in all of 2015. Some of you may disagree. Some of you may agree with me, and that's fine. But this is from TNA. This is EC3 versus Rockstar Spud, hair versus hair. Now, this rivalry goes back when EC3 and Rockstar Spud were like buddy-buddy. But EC3 started blaming people because his aunt had went through a table thanks to Bully Ray in Team 3D. EC3 blamed Spud. Spud was like, look, I've been there for you. I'm tired of you picking on me, blah, blah, blah. So he challenged him to a hair versus hair match. Pretty darn good match. Like I said, one of the most underrated matches of 2015. And EC3 decided to pull the okie doke on Rockstar. He's like, look, I respect you. You're a great competitor, blah, blah, blah. Rockstar was bleeding throughout the match, bleeding a gush of just, you know, the infamous Crimson Mask. And EC3, like I said, pulled the okie doke on him, threw him up in the turnbuckle, shaved his head. Even the trainers had to shave his head because he was just, you know, he got embarrassed. EC3 won. So, like I said, this was on the March 13th edition of Impact. Hair versus hair, number 9, EC3, Rockstar Spud. Number 8, a match I just talked about earlier, well, just a moment ago. AJ Styles versus Jay Lethal for the world title. Final Battle on the 18th. Pretty good match. Jay Lethal still walked out the champion. Like I said earlier, AJ was determined to walk out the champion. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But, you know, classic match, I must say the least. Number 7. Like I said, we got some Lucha on here. How can I not forget Lucha Underground? January 27th. I am dying to see Lucha Underground Season 2. I mean, you, me, everybody else. If you love Lucha Underground, if you missed Season 1, check it out. Find it, check it out, watch it. Season 2, I can't wait. But this was from the May 27th edition, the May 27th episode of Lucha Underground, Mil Muertes versus Phoenix. Now, this was a rematch from their first match. Mil Muertes came back with Katrina, Disciples of Death. I mean, this was the match that, to me, had the greatest powerbomb ever when Phoenix went through the roof of the storage room or whatever that room was. Mil Muertes literally powerbombed this guy through the roof. And it was just like, wow. Gotta check this match out. Number 6 on our countdown goes to New Japan. And it's Tanahashi versus Okada. Now these two are going to face off again at Wrestle Kingdom 10 in a few days for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. This match was from Wrestle Kingdom 9 this year. They're going to face off again next year. So I'm pretty excited. I will be watching Wrestle Kingdom 10. Maybe Okada can finally beat him. Who knows? But this match was pretty darn good, to say the least. In the end, Tanahashi walked out the champion. This upcoming show is going to be, it's going to have the tables reversed where Okada is the champion and Tanahashi is challenging him for the title. So, we'll see how that turns out. But Tanahashi Okada, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, Wrestle Kingdom 9, gets this number 6 slot on the countdown. All right. Number 5. This is from WWE again. The first match between Kevin Owens and John Cena, champion versus champion. This is when Kevin Owens was making his name in WWE. He made his name in NXT. He was the NXT champion at the time. John Cena, the US champ at the time. And Kevin Owens got the upset victory at Elimination Chamber from May 31st of this year. Pretty big shocker, to say the least, but Kevin Owens got the victory in the first match of the first of their 3 matches that they had. So he pretty much made a name for himself before and after this match. Number 4 from TNA. This was for the Heavyweight Championship. This is when Impact was when they moved to Destination America on January 7th. I saw this match. Pretty darn good match. Rude coming in as the champion. He took on Lashley. Bobby Roode versus Lashley. Number 4 slot. And because of Eric Young, Lashley walked out as the new TNA World Champ. But it was, these two know each other like the back of their hands. So what more can you say? Number 3. I couldn't leave this match off either. It was from NXT Takeover Brooklyn, August 22nd of this year. Bayley versus Sasha Banks for the NXT Women's Championship. I mean, pretty much the best women's wrestling match of the year. Hands down. I mean, they even took it to another level at NXT Takeover Respect. But NXT Takeover Brooklyn, I mean, like I said, best women's wrestling championship match of the year, period. Bayley got the win. She's the new champion. She's been the champion since then. Sasha, you already know how she is. So, number 2. This is from Lucha Underground again. All Night Long for the Lucha Underground Championship from June 17th. This was the only match on the show. This took up the entire show. It was a 60-minute Iron Man match. Prince Puma taking on Johnny Mundo. And these two just battled all through the temple, up and down the stairs, up and down the stage, crowd, wherever. These two just battled. And this was the match where Alberto El Patron came back and attacked Johnny Mundo because Johnny Mundo threw him through that window. And then, it was, what more can you say about this match? Pretty much the best Iron Man match besides the one at NXT Takeover Respect, which was a 30-minute match, but still, this match right here, number 2, All Night Long. If you missed Lucha Underground Season 1, check that out. And number 1 on the list, it was from the Royal Rumble on January 25th for the WWE World Championship, a triple threat match. Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar versus John Cena. Now, originally it was Cena versus Lesnar, but Rollins got in via the Authority. And this did not disappoint. This triple threat match did not disappoint at all. But in the end, Lesnar came out of nowhere after being crashed through a table, suplexing everybody, taking him to Suplex City. And in the end, Brock still walked out the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Now, like I said, I didn't want to bore y'all half to death, but if, like I said, there's some matches I left off the list. If you don't like the list, let me know. If you like the list, if there's some matches I left off, hit me up at Rodarius Walker on Twitter or at WonderShop256 on Twitter. Like I said, Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. And on behalf of WonderShop, I'm Rodimus Prime. I'll see you guys later. We will be back 2016. Better, bigger, faster, stronger than ever. I'll be in the shop as much as I can. Once again, Happy New Year, and I will see you guys next time.